Welcome, everyone. I'm John Bicus, president of the Berwyn Group, and we're here and excited to discuss our latest product innovation in the death audit category, which is our version of the Death Master File. We call it the BerwynDMF. We, as the leader in the death audit category, continuously improve our solutions, whether that's continuously improve existing solutions or look for opportunities to continuously improve the category by introducing new solutions. And that's what the BerwynDMF is. It's a new introduction to this category, which we believe fills a void that exists right now, primarily because the existing DMF is so poor in terms of coverage and what's available. And many people use that and have come to understand how bad it is, and we'll talk about that briefly. But we're looking for an alternative to the existing DMF because it can help companies in a number of ways. It can help them obviously identify more decedents. It can help them operationally just slide something into what's an existing process. And we've seen that being a big hurdle in a number of industries. And it can help with reducing the expense of trying to identify decedents, because if people are using the existing Death Master File, they're missing a number of deaths, have probably implemented other processes or procedures which can be expensive. And by now substituting the BerwynDMF for the existing limited access DMF, there's an opportunity to not only find more decedents, fit something in operationally, but potentially reduce your cost of identifying decedents in the long run. So with that said, why don't we move on to the next slide, Laura? So today I'll be doing the introduction. Again, I'm John Bicus. I'm president of the Berwyn Group. I've been running the team for approximately 8 years, a long history of decedent identification and decedent data identification over the past 25 years. Joining me is Laura Koza, who is our Chief Strategy and Product Officer and has led the development of this solution today. So before I turn it over to Laura, we thought we would jump in just to level set on what the issue is with the limited access Death Master File, in case people are not aware. So the full MF, it was a very easy solution to identify decedents. You needed first name, last name. 2011, primarily as a result of states and federal discussion about how the data was being used, how it was being distributed, how it was being paid for. As a result, the Death Master File that is now available is called the Limited Access Death Master File. And that Limited Access Death Master File has gone from the 95% coverage of the full DMF all the way down to 16%. And that's a function of not having any state data in the Limited Access Death Master File. The data that's in the Limited Access Death Master File comes from hospitals, directly from hospitals, funeral homes, a consumer reporting something to the federal government. But anything going to the federal government, the full DMF still exists, but it's not distributed only at the federal level. It's not distributed at the state level or other levels. So the information available now in the limited access DMF that is distributed for use across most categories like insurance, pension, financial services, healthcare, that data set now only covers 16% of all deaths. And so if people are using, or companies are using that data set, they're missing 8 out of 10 deaths. We've known this for a long time. We've built solutions to help handle this. With our newest solution, we think it's, and Laura will talk about where this fits in our portfolio, we think it's an important solution, as I mentioned, because operationally, it's a very easy slide into whatever is being done with the Limited Access Death Master File in terms of how you're operationalizing that. It's going to capture significantly higher percentage of U.S. population deaths. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're able to slide it in operationally, capture more deaths, you can reduce your cost associated with finding the rest of the deaths over the long term. So to level set here, again, the solution that we've developed is intended to be a substitute for the Limited Access Death Master File. It has a much higher coverage rate. And it has social security numbers in it. It has names in it, dates of birth, dates of death. Laura will go into all of that. It looks just like Limited Access Death Master File. And so I'm going to turn it over to Laura. But again, to level set, we are looking for a solution that makes identifying decedents much easier. That's the goal of our company. And we're really excited to introduce this solution, which we think fills a big void across a number of industries. that needs something that operates like the limited access death master file, but performs at a much higher rate. So with that, Laura, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, John. And I'm going to move on to this slide, which gives a bit of a comparison across the products and solutions in the market that we've talked about a little bit today. Limited access death master file from the SSA being on the far right, our new solution, the BerwynDMF, being in the middle, and then our existing gold standard solution of CertaDeath on the left. My goal with showing this is to walk through what the differences are and what the situations are that you might use each of these solutions. So starting on the right with the limited access death master file, again, as John mentioned, this shows 16% of the deaths that occur in the US every year as of now. It is eroded over time, as John talked about, and it's just become really unusable in the market. And I think that's becoming more apparent to people, but it's still something that we want to highlight here. The way that clients get this data today is directly from NTIS that shares that. It's a one-way data flow, and it's a flat file sent weekly or monthly at the client's discretion. This file also has errors in it. It has the concept of revivals where somebody was noted as deceased and then later revived and found not to be dead. So those are revivals that come through, which we know to be false positives, and it's a fairly high rate that we see from the LADMF. So what John introduced was our BerwynDMF solution that we've been working on and are excited to launch in the market now, which has 70% death record coverage. This includes data from the limited access death master file itself, but also other state as well as obituary and public data sources that we're able to use and combine into this file. This is a one-way data flow, much the same as the LADMF is transmitted today to clients, which means you no longer have to send us any sensitive information about your population. That is a concern we've heard in the market. We are being responsive to that and are excited for this solution to be able to, as John said, plug into your existing guardrails, your ways of ingesting data and using it internally without having to send anything externally. It's sent on the same cadence as the LADMF, weekly or monthly, and it has the same layout because we are trying to make this as easy to plug and play and utilize as possible for those organizations that are used to the limited access death master file. This file also contains records that adhere to our standard that we've set in the market of 99.9% accurate. Our goal is always to be the most comprehensive and most accurate for our clients. We are doing the best we can and always investing and improving our solutions to ensure that level of accuracy and comprehensiveness. And this file and product is no different. The difference here is that because it's a one-way data flow, our clients are then responsible for taking that data and using it to match against their populations internally. What we are providing, however, is a very comprehensive solution within each record even. So as John mentioned, within each record, we are giving you first name, last name, the social security number associated with that individual, and then dates of birth and dates of death. Our fill rates on the names and social security numbers on this file are 100%. So we're giving you those key data elements that are necessary for you to confidently make those matches against your participants, your insureds, and your population that you have interest in monitoring and for deaths. And what we are seeing is that this is consistently 4 to 5 times the coverage that the limited access death master file is providing. So this solution, again, hits on that comprehensiveness, hits on that accuracy that we've set as the gold standard in the market. And that's a really good segue into our CertaDeath solution, just wanting to draw some of the distinctions between these products again. Our CertaDeath solution gives 98% validations. We are able to find and validate 98% of the deaths that occur in our clients' populations. This requires monitoring of the populations within Berwyn. So that is the transition of PII to Berwyn to monitor that, but that's what's going to give the most comprehensive solution. And there's still a lot of value and a solution for that for those who are really prioritizing comprehensiveness and accuracy of their death audit. That solution also has the 99.9% accuracy, much the same as our BerwynDMF. So again, we are holding that standard across our core product suites and wanted to highlight that. So let's dig in a little bit more to the data on the BerwynDMF. We've run this file, we've built this file, we've run analysis and testing on this file. And what I'm showing here is a full 6 months worth of data that we can look at and demonstrate with the actual data that we are consistently providing 4 to 5 times the coverage of the limited access death master file on a weekly basis. So you can see here the green on the left-hand column or left-hand graph, excuse me, the green line is showing what the BerwynDMF number of records are. And these are unique, distinct individuals already deduplicated in the file. So there's no deduplication necessary on the client's part. The blue line is the same from the limited access death master file. So you can see the order of magnitude is substantial between what you would be getting through that limited access death master file today and what you could get through the BerwynDMF on a consistent basis. The right-hand side is just doing that math for you, taking the green line divided by the blue line and showing that, again, we are consistently falling in the 4 to 5 times coverage ratio. So I wanted to wrap there and say that the summary of this is that we have 70% death record coverage on this BerwynDMF. That gives you 100% of the SSNs and the records that you get, which makes it easier for you to match against your population internally. And it requires 0 PII transfer from you to us. So you can feel confident in the security of your data. You can feel confident that all of that data sits within your environment and that you have all the tools that you need in order to make those matches against that Berwyn Death Master file to give you the 70% coverage that we can bring to you. So with that, I'd love to open it up for questions.
Yeah, we have a few questions, and just to reiterate a couple of points that Laura made. You know, the key here is this looks like and includes all the deaths from the limited access death master file. So it has the same format as the death master file, but instead of the 16%, it's at a 70%, 70% decedent identification, and it includes a social security number along with every name. So there's a social security number match that can be done on your end, which is the simplest type of match. And there's no PII transfer, which we know as the world continues to evolve and gets more complicated is a big issue. And so by creating this solution, it's a solution that we think, again, applies to the insurance world across multiple books of business, but also for actuarial studies where they're typically being based on the LADMF. It could apply into the financial services world, likely into the healthcare world, and the other, one-off offshoots that we see companies purchasing the limited access DMF for. It's most likely not a candidate for what I would say is the pension world, where it's really important to identify every decedent as quickly as possible because there are payment obligations and some other things going on there. That's a certain death solution. This is that mid-tier solution that really fills certain use cases across a broad variety and a swath of other industries. So I just want to make sure that that was clear. In terms of what this looks like from a contracting standpoint, we do have a contract. It's pretty standard that we can send out that is available right now. We will discuss pricing separately with each client. The pricing is very similar to what it costs for the limited access death master file right now as a benchmark. And the other thing with this this particular solution, in case it wasn't mentioned, this solution starts, and Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, from January of this year. So the data in the file that you receive will be from January of this year going forward. It is a weekly file, like the LADMF. It does go get sent to you through SFTP or delivered just like NTIS would. So all the things that you can think about with regard to what the LADMF looks like, we've tried to replicate to make this as simple as possible in terms of an integration into your processes, but with a much greater decedent identification level. So I just want to make sure a couple of those points were clear. A few questions that have come in, Laura, are
Mm-hmm.
the death sources between Certideath and the BerwynDMF the same, with the only distinction being who does the matching?
So thanks for the question. That's a great question. We are able to include a broad set of data sources in the BerwynDMF, inclusive of, as I mentioned, the limited access death master file itself. We have state sources and we have public sources, being obituaries, funeral homes, etc. So we are able to include all the same sources, types of sources that we have in the Certideath solution. One of the distinctions here as well on the BerwynDMF is that, again, the fill rate on SSN is 100%. So that's another distinction there on the BerwynDMF file. So the matching does need to be done in your environment, but we do matching before we send the file to you to ensure that we're giving you the most comprehensive record for each individual that's on that file. So we're doing matching internally to make sure that all of those key data elements are filled in, and that's matching amongst all of those different sources and doing a bit of an identity resolution there to ensure that that is, again, the most comprehensive record for each individual. So that is intended to make your matching process easier on your side as well. But those are the main distinctions. So thank you for the question.
Great. Another one is you mentioned no PII transfer is required. Can you walk through how the matching works without us sending sensitive data?
Yep. So again, as we've mentioned, we have the file layout is the same as the BerwynDMF. So again, we have the first name, the last name, the date of birth, the date of death, as well as the social security number. So when you think of the core matching, as I talked about, we have our matching that we use internally, which is built on similar matching, the same algorithms, the same experience and expertise that we have with Certideath to do that matching amongst all of our records to be able to give you that fulsome death record and make sure that the fill rate on all of those key elements is comprehensive. So again, we have 100% fill rate on the SSN and the name, and our date of birth fill rate right now is 96%. So that will be what you're able to utilize to match your population against the BerwynDMF. But in terms of what we're sending to you, we're leveraging all of our proprietary matching algorithms to give you only those that we validated. That's another distinction that I perhaps didn't hit on as well. But all of these DEDs are validated DEDs that we're providing you in the BerwynDMF as well.
Okay, great. Um, and how current is the data? So, for example, when someone passes, how long until it shows up in this file versus the LADMF?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. We've done a lot of analysis on our various data sources because these are our sources, as mentioned, these are our sources for Certideath as well. And so we've done a lot of analysis on what the different lag times are amongst the different sources that we incorporate. The limited access death master file is consistently weeks in terms of lag from date of death to the time that it shows up on the file. And so what we see is that we have other sources that, for instance, the public data sources that we invest in going out and sourcing ourselves, the obituaries, the funeral homes, etc. Our median lag time on that is low single digit days. So on average, on median, it's about 5 days from the time that the date of death occurs to the time that gets in our database. And what we do is we incorporate all of those records from all of our sources in the same week immediately into the next file. So you'll see a very short lag time for the vast majority of these records because that's what we see in terms of when we go out and we gather that data and put it into our database. It's days. So that's Yep, that's my answer.
Okay, great. No, that's very helpful. And then, Laura, what does onboarding actually look like? For example, how long from when a client signs, a contract to when they're able to receive their first file?
Yep, that's a good question as well. And so we have a team here, a dedicated team of client success managers that work with our clients to onboard and make sure that you're getting everything as quickly as possible. So once the contract is signed, we would have our team reach out to you as the client and gather some information that we need just to set up the transmission. So it's an SFTP transmission. We would just need some simple information. And then once we get that back, we can set that up and transmit the file in the next weekly cadence. So our file is intended to come on every Monday. It's going to be on the weekly transmissions. It'll be every Monday. And so we would be able to get you set up within a week or two. And that's really pending how long it takes our clients to send us the information that we need just to set up and test that SFTP connection. So it can be pretty efficient.
Okay,
We
great.
would guide our clients through all of that.
Yeah. And building on that, how is it, can a client see an example of the report that will be sent or the type of data that we sent? How will that be handled?
Yeah, sure. So we have a sample format layout that we can provide to our clients to be able to see the layout. As we've mentioned, it's the exact same layout as a limited access Death Master file, but we can send that in follow-up. And then also, once a client signs our contract, we have a 30-day period where a client will get that file on the weekly cadence. They can test it, they can experience it. And if you're not satisfied, then we have the ability to terminate the contract without paying anything for that first 30 days. So we've built that into the contract to make that easy for clients. We don't have to sign multiple agreements. It's one agreement, but you have the ability to terminate if you're not fully satisfied with the service.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point, and that was our last question, Laura. So thanks for clarifying. And again, this will be an annual license fee that will be paid, and as part of that annual license fee, there will be a trial period. So, as Laura mentioned, an opportunity for you as a client to ingest this data for a period of time, do your own diligence against the LADMF, which we've just shown the numbers on a trended basis, but do your own diligence. And then, if at the end of that trial period you do not want to move forward, the contract will be voided. You'll have to tell us that you don't want to move forward, but we're trying to make this as simple as possible from a contracting standpoint. And with that said, I don't see any more questions. I'll wait 10 more seconds here to see if anything comes across as someone's feeding me these questions when they come in. So while we're waiting, I do have just in closing a couple of things. But Laura, is there anything that you'd like to conclude with or to point out?
No, just really excited about the product launch here, excited to serve our clients and excited for the feedback. So really always welcome the feedback on our products, and we always want to find the solutions that best work for our clients and your needs. So thank you for the time.
Yeah, no, thank you, Laura, and thanks to everyone here. Again, as Laura mentioned, we are excited. We are looking to continuously improve this category. Berwyn is a death audit population management team that looks like none other in any of in the industry, given the size and the scope of our organization. We have people like Laura and a technology team, a data team, a client service team, all of whom have been instrumental in putting this solution together. This is not easy. If this was easy to do, someone would have done it because the Death Master file has been a discussion point for 15 years now. This is not easy. It takes a significant amount of investment in technology, in data, and in process, and then the capability to think about how to put all that together. And so we are very excited about this because I do believe it opens up a significant number of new use cases for our existing clients and new clients, given what this does and the idea that there is something exactly like this out there already, which is the limited access Death Master file. What we've done is taken that as a baseline and said we can do better. And so this is a great substitute for that. It will have all of the deaths of the limited access death master file. But in addition to an increased amount of coverage, as Laura mentioned, there's also going to be quicker decedent identification given the sources that we use, which include a variety that are used in all of our data sets. So this is really exciting for us. We hope that you are excited about it and get to use it. We will be, as follow-up, reaching out to you. You're always welcome to reach out to us. We do already have a contract that has been created and can be reviewed. It's pretty standard and straightforward. And again, because there's no PII exchange happening here, that takes a lot of elements of contracting and the challenge of contracting this space, I think, out of play. And, we have a 30-day trial period, so that's built in. Our pricing structure is going to be very similar, at least on a baseline, to what the limited access death master file is. So we try to take everything into consideration here to make this as easy as possible to implement across a variety of customers. We really hope that people, at least test this out and give us feedback. As Laura mentioned, we're always looking for that. But we've spent a significant amount of resources because we think this is a need across a variety of industries for a variety of use cases. So really appreciate everyone's time here. We will be reaching out to you if you're on this webinar, but feel free to reach out to us with any questions that you might have. And thank you for your attendance here. We really appreciate it.